Yo, what's going on, snipers? And it is finally time for NHL 25 franchise mode stuff. And you guys are probably wondering, what team am I doing? Obviously, based on my face cam design, what is this custom team we're doing? We're obviously doing another Draft to Glory, and it is going to be an exciting one. The team that we're going to be using is kind of an interesting idea I came up with for a team. I wasn't really sure exactly what city I wanted to do. And then I came across a city that I think would make sense, and also a team name that would make sense. So I'll get this set up here, and then we'll actually see what the team is called. So let's select team here because we've created one team. You can see it is Albuquerque. So we're going to New Mexico. Obviously, the alien logo, we are doing the Albuquerque Aliens. So I know it's a little bit of a basic name, but obviously I like to do Draft to Glories every single year. So I think this is what our team is going to be this season. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Obviously, I've never had a team in New Mexico before, and I don't know how big of a hockey state New Mexico really is. Like, I know that they have a local rink in Albuquerque, but I'm not too sure on how popular it really is. So should be interesting this series, obviously, because like Draft to Glories, taking a team from nothing to something is always something I like doing. Obviously, last year we did Halifax, before that we did Anchorage, and before that we did Houston. So we are on a little bit of a stretch where we're doing a lot of these. Obviously, I'd like to do one of these every single year if we possibly can. So obviously, we're going to be taking control of our Albuquerque Aliens, which means we're going to have to do the expansion draft and stuff like that. You can see the arena name is Arena51. Shout out to Husky in the Discord who came up with the idea name for that. I think it's a perfect name because obviously it's a play on Area 51. The reason why we're also doing the aliens is because if you guys don't know, Roswell, New Mexico is pretty much like an alien place, or well known for aliens, I think. So that's why I kind of went with that type of theme. So that's why we're called the Albuquerque Aliens. I don't know how much aliens actually live in Albuquerque though, but Roswell, New Mexico, you never know. We aren't going to customize the AHL team. I was recommended by Tyler in the Discord that we should do like an AHL team with astronauts, but I just don't have the time really to customize the AHL team. So unfortunately, I'm just going to leave it as still the Burnaby Aces, but maybe eventually down the road, we'll do a series where we actually customize the AHL as well. And in terms of where is Albuquerque in terms of the Western Conference, obviously we'll be a Western Conference team. I got to take a look at the Google Maps and see where we are close to. In sense, so Albuquerque, New Mexico, would this be considered central or something like that? That's kind of an interesting one. It's either central, it would be with a lot of Dallas-based teams because New Mexico is very close to Texas. So we could probably do central, just because that way we'd have rivalries with like the Dallas Stars and all that. So I think moving us to the Central Division would probably be the best bet. So we'll be there with like Utah and some other new teams and all that. So I think that'll be kind of an interesting spot for us. Definitely a little bit of a tougher division because Winnipeg's obviously pretty solid. Utah is on their way up, so that should be an interesting thing to see if we get any rivalries with Utah down the road. St. Louis is still kind of rebuilding. Nashville's obviously good now with Stamkos on their team. Minnesota is kind of a tweener team, I think, at times. Sometimes they make the playoffs, sometimes they don't. Dallas is obviously really good. Colorado's really good. And Chicago is obviously still rebuilding. So let's continue on that. So we're going to do Central. And in terms of all this stuff, we're going to turn owner mode off because obviously I don't care too much about owner mode. Salary cap is going to stay on as well for the series just because obviously it makes it more realistic. We're going to turn off head coach edit lines. We're going to turn off fog of war. We are going to, should I keep player morale on? I think we should probably. Yeah, I think we'll keep player morale on for now, but obviously if it becomes a bit of a problem, maybe I'll turn it off later. CPO trades obviously will stay on. Auto scene for agents. Yeah, the rest of that should be good. And do we want Seattle to be exempted from it? I guess so. Because we have to do the expansion draft, which kind of sucks because all the players that we're going to be taking basically are just going to leave the team right away. Like, I could technically cut this part out of the video if I really wanted to, but I don't know if I'm going to or not. So that's all set up. Let's just make sure everything else is good here. NHL salary cap doesn't matter. We don't care about trades really, so I could just leave the difficulty on medium because we're not going to make a single trade in this series. Just in case you don't know how Draft to Glory runs, basically we could only build up our team via the draft, and that's it. No trades whatsoever, no signings in free agency. So we aren't going to be able to play with any of like the new kind of things that they have really too much, but we might be able to, guys, now you could get players to change positions from like defense to offense maybe there's a chance we could actually kind of play with that too. Because if we draft like an offensive defenseman, an offensive defenseman, and his offensive stats are really good, but he's not really picking up the most points on the defensive side of things, maybe we try and get him to change over to a forward. So we can't do that. That's going to be something that makes this series a little bit more different than the past games for sure. So we'll leave that. Let's just go to the advanced settings, make sure this is all set up properly. Head coach head lines, no. Auto rotate's good. Contract here doesn't really matter. I'm trying to make sure here. Yeah, we could leave the prospect quality and all that the same, I think. Because we did manage to win some Stanley Cups in our drafted glories over the years, so I think we should be able to win another one technically with this Albuquerque team, but obviously it depends on how good we draft. We are going to turn morale meetings off because I don't really like morale meetings. Like, I'm okay with morale, but when you have like players being like, yo, I want more ice time, can you please promise me more ice time? It gets kind of annoying. Retired jersey numbers don't matter, and that's all good and ready to go. Gameplay sliders here. Let's turn injuries down a little bit here. Obviously, we do want injuries to happen, but I think, actually, maybe for the first series, we don't want them to happen. I don't know exactly. We could put it to like 9 out of 100, so then we don't get super affected early on. But obviously, injuries are an important thing to have on, I think. Oh, you could turn off broken glass. I didn't even realize that. So that's, I think, a new area. So if we want broken glass turned off, we could turn that off now. That's kind of nice. Not that it happens that often anyways. So I think that is good and ready to go. So let's go start up career here. And obviously we're going to have the expansion draft, and then we're going to get to our first draft already of this series as well. So it might be a little bit of a long first episode, but I hope you guys enjoy the series because I think these type of series are some of my favorite type of things, just because obviously you take a team from nothing into being maybe a cup contender or just a really dominant playoff team. And obviously with the new stuff in franchise mode, it should make it very exciting too. So okay, so we got little prompts about new stuff in franchise mode, which I already know about, so I'm not going to spend too much time looking at all that, but that's okay. So yeah, I guess we got to start sipping up to the draft already, but in case you guys didn't see any of the franchise mode deep dives, you can see how awesome this menu looks like. Shout out to EA for the UI. I think this UI is like exactly what we need. We'll be able to see a lot more stats this way, and I think it just makes it a lot more clean. So let's simulate to the draft. And we'll hop on into the expansion. This is the first time I've tried doing an expansion franchise mode with the new stuff. So we're going to be drafting 4th overall in the actual NHL draft. That kind of sucks. So we fall back from 3rd to 4th. But San Jose will have number 3, Seattle number 2, and Chicago number 1. So Chicago with back-to-back 1st overall picks. So they're after Bedard, they're going to get somebody probably pretty good. Actually, we don't need to really do any draft interviews. We are going to get an elite player regardless to start this franchise mode, which is nice. So there is 2 good left wingers. You have Artem Gerbeshkov, supposed to go 1st overall. Curtis Beck, Shane Lorentz is a center. And you have some defensemen like Yuri Dadonov. It'd be interesting to have a Dadonov on our team, but he is a defensive defenseman. So I think our selection, based on our position, might be Josiah Staubitz as a power forward, which would be a good way to start it off. I think he would be a nice little selection, considering he's a guaranteed medium elite. So I think he'll probably be our first ever selection in franchise history. I should have probably done some interviews for the later rounds because we don't know too much about this draft, but it is the first draft. It doesn't really matter too much. Obviously, the other drafts are going to be very important for us still going forward. So let's hop into our first ever NHL draft and add the first ever players to the Albuquerque Aliens. We're not going to have any restrictions with who we could draft. I feel like eventually maybe we should do a series though where we restrict ourselves to like, say, only people that play in the QMJHL, only people that play in the WHL, or only the United States, only Swedish players or something like that, because that would be kind of neat. But the Aliens, we could just literally draft anybody we want, really. So I guess, you know what, for this screen, actually I could move my face down here. Yeah, I'm going to move my face down here so you guys can actually see everything with the draft. So Chicago's got 1st overall, followed by Seattle, San Jose, and we're drafting at 4. So yeah, we're likely going to take that power forward if he is still on the board. So Chicago at number 1 takes Gerbeshkov, so they take an 83 overall left-wing playmaker. That's a really solid player to put next to Connor Bedard. So there is a really nice selection for them. Does have a couple X factors as well. Wheels all alone, and it's tricky. All right. Seattle at number 2 is going to take Beck, who's an 80 overall two-way forward. Curtis Beck. All right. Obviously, you guys will have some opinions and stuff like that for future drafts, which is good. I'll probably get to the signing part and stuff like that and getting our team set up for next episode. Maybe I'll do that off camera because it's a little bit tedious. I don't know. We'll see. But Curtis Beck joining the Kraken. San Jose will take Lorentz, who's an 81 overall sniper. So there is Shane Lorentz. Nice little addition there. Obviously, they have a lot of good players now if Celebrini already still there, which I don't know if he is. Now let's make our first ever selection in franchise history. And obviously, we're not going to go for the DFD because DFDs are just not really worth it. Eventually, they ask for tons of money, I think, usually. But Josiah Staubitz, good shooting, good pretty much everything. We don't know if he has any X factors, but regardless, he should generate some. And yeah, being a right winger, that's a nice way to start off our offensive core. He's also a pretty big guy, 6'4", 213 pounds. He is from USA West, so I don't think he'd be technically from like the close to New Mexico, but he could be from like California, for instance, so somewhat close by. So let's see how good Josiah is. 79 overall, not bad. Good way to start it off. Obviously, the rest of his team is going to be pretty crap, but there is a look at Mr. Josiah Staubitz. Pretty balanced overall. His defense is 3 stars, but obviously he could work on it a little bit. His offensive skills will go up as well. But yeah, pretty balanced. Hopefully he becomes a good power forward for our team. So there's our first ever selection. Let's see how good Dadonov was as well. Shirokov goes next. Okay, that's just a normal top 6. So Dadonov falls all the way to, wow, the Canadiens? Yeah, wow, the Canadiens got a good steal at number 7. Wasn't expecting him to fall that much, but number 7, 7th overall to the Habs is a number 77. That's kind of crazy. 78 overall, so a lot of 7s for Dadonov. Who knows how good that guy's going to be, but I think we might made maybe the right selection there. All right, let's get to our second round pick here and see what we could snag up for these Albuquerque Aliens. Obviously, late round picks are important because first round picks you could usually hit pretty much easily. But when you get into the later rounds, if you get nice low lead steals and stuff like that, it goes a long way. Since we just drafted a 4, drafting a defenseman probably is a good option because there's a couple defenders here in like Trevelyan, Liam Steen. Liam Steen doesn't really look that good, to be honest. So, who is this? Ross Reeves, Ruben Knuble. I don't know if I want a Ruben on my team. There's also Tuomo Salminen, the Finn, playing for HBK. I know Husky probably would tell me to take him just because he's from HBK. Saul Correa as a forward, and Amir Gite. Let me just take a look at these guys' stats here a little bit. A lot of them look pretty similar. 2 B minus or 2 B minuses. 2 B. Ross Reeves might be the best of those. Trying to see here. Who's the best defenseman of the bunch? Korea's a forward. This is a tough decision. Do I want to go with Knuble, Trevelyan, or Gite? I think I got to go maybe with Trevelyan because he's the highest projected, I think. Yeah, well, let's go through Matt Trevelyan. He's a right-handed defenseman as well, so might as well select him. Let's see how good Matt Trevelyan is. Low 6, 62 overall. He's probably not going to end up being that good, but I mean, at least it's just bodies to fill out a roster for the beginning of this franchise mode, so I'll take it. Don't mind that selection. Let's simulate to our next pick at number 69. Nice. Nice indeed. Don't know if we're going to get anything good here. This draft class quality seems to be pretty bad. Usually it is like that, though, when you do expansion franchise modes. Igor Sadikov, 5 years out. I don't really want a real player, to be honest. Vladimir Voloshenko, he doesn't look good either. But he could be elite, but I doubt it. CCDs, okay. Voloshenko. Yeah, Voloshenko definitely looks worse. I might as well just go for Igor Sadikov, because I don't think... Oh, Spike Parks is a cool name, but he's not as good, I don't think. Actually, he doesn't have any weaknesses, though. You know what, let's go for Spike Parks, because he's got a cool name, so... Because at this point, I don't care as much about this draft. Obviously, the first-year draft, we will definitely care about, but these ones don't really matter as much. These are just filler players for, like, the first 2 years of the franchise mode, at least. All right, 4th round selection. Is there anything that we could find in terms of steals here? There is a goalie in Walker Heinrich, also Tommy Shipley. Maybe we should just take a goalie at this point because there looks like a lot of goalies around this part of the draft. Because you have Menard, you have Solovyov, you have Sjogren, you have Shipley, you have Korostin. Let's take a look at all those goalies. Because I think taking a goalie wouldn't be a bad option. So Menard looks pretty bad. You look even worse. You look the best of the bunch, but you might have the lower potential. Who knows? You look pretty bad. You look pretty bad. You look pretty bad. I don't know if there's a right decision here. Some of these guys are like 2-bar medium elite guaranteed. So they might be elite, but I don't think they are going to be. Like overall wise, I think obviously Liam Sjogren's probably got the highest overall of the bunch, but he's probably got the lowest potential too. I don't really know if we want a goalie because it's kind of weird how that still is a thing where goalies just appears the same thing. But I think we'll lean towards Shipley here. Yeah, I think we'll lean towards Tommy Shipley. Just because he seems to be the most balanced, I guess, of the bunch. So yeah, let's go with Tommy Shipley here. And see if he's good. Medium fringe. Eesh. 48 overall, though, is low as shit. That's like the lowest overall I've seen for a fringe starter. So he is going to be our starting goalie probably for next season. He's probably going to get lit the shit, but because being a 48 overall in the NHL, we could always play some of these guys in the AHL for the first year if you guys think it would be a better way to develop them. But obviously, if we want to get them into the lineup right away, we could do that too. But obviously, some of them might be not AHL eligible too. We got to take that into account. Corey Redmond on defense might be the best option here. However, there is a Dean Perron who might be interesting. You know what? Let's go for Dean Perron here. Give us another forward. Low 6, 51 overall, grinder. Yeah, this first draft is pretty crap, I would say. But at least we have a good first-round pick. Hopefully these other guys surprise me in terms of how they play. Maybe we could give some of them some goals to hit, and if they hit those goals, maybe they could get some X factors and stuff, which would be kind of neat. We could definitely do that in our first season if we really want. Whereas these guys not looking too good, let's just go with the... A lot of these guys are probably real people, which I'm not trying to look for too much. Let's go for Bryce Pavelski. Sure, I'll take another defenseman. Another 7th D. I mean, 7th D at least is better than having it being like an AHL top 2. So, in our final pick of the draft, let's see what we got here. Any guys that might be elite here? Probably not, but let's see. Silas. Tamerlan looks okay. Where is he playing? Oh, Victoria. Yeah, Tamerlan might be okay. We might actually just take another goalie here. Let's go with Ryan Tamerlan. He must be a real player, I would assume, because I've never seen that last name generated before. And he's also 6'8", which you don't see from a lot of generated prospects. So I'm assuming this guy's a real player, but we're going to still take him anyways. Medium backup, 55 overall. I'll take it. I will take it. Big goalie. Maybe he could stop Bucks. So there's our first ever draft in franchise history. Hopefully those guys, some of them end up being better than they actually are projected to be. But Staubitz is an exciting player, I think, for sure. But obviously he does not have a lot of help around him. So hopefully he doesn't get stunted growth because he plays with really bad players. All right, so there's that. I think now we could advance a day here. And now we have the re-sign stuff, which obviously this is where we're just going to let go of all of our players pretty much that are not drafted by us. So if we go here to, yeah, I know how contracts work. We also got to get into like eventually clauses and stuff, which will be exciting. So we could give like Staubitz a contract, a no movement clause at some point. Should we give everybody on our roster a no movement clause? That would be interesting. So, but obviously, yeah, we're gonna let go of everybody that is up for renewal. Let's just all expiring to make this a little bit easier to see. But yeah, we're going to have to sign a lot of crap. And I might actually do that in this episode and then just cut that part out of the episode. And then you guys could see the stuff at the start of the season where we look at the draft class ahead and all that. And then we could start up year 1. We'll probably sim all of year 1 in next episode, just like the regular season of it, not the off-season portion of it. Because I always like your guys' opinion on who we should be drafting and adding to the roster. So we need to let go of all these guys. They can all go to the market. Hopefully some of them go back to the teams they were with. Because Yeah. So we'll release you all. We might still have some people under contract that I got for 2 years, but that's okay. They will be thrown to the AHL likely. So, boom. Yeah, there's still 4 people under contract. We'll get rid of Miner and Leonard. Yeah, there's only 2 people under contract at the moment, still going into the next year, which is, who is under contract? It's Philip Larson still, which is okay. He'll probably be in the AHL. And then Shane Bowers is still under contract. Okay, it's nothing important. Both those guys will probably be in the AHL next season. But let's go to our unsigned here. And we're definitely signing Stelwitz right out of the gate. And yeah, we got to go into this actual contract portion of it. We aren't going to go into start negotiation because it's kind of pointless. But let's just go here. And we got Stelwitz already signing, which is good. We don't even need the simulated day, which is nice. That's a new thing. Also, you don't need to simulate a day necessarily to sign some of these guys, especially unsigned prospects. Trevelyan, should I sign him already? Yeah, you know what? We'll sign him already. He doesn't have much potential already anyways, so we'll just give him his ELC. Parks. Hopefully the new contract stuff doesn't work against us in terms of this. We'll just sign everybody, I feel like, at this point. Most of them should be AHL eligible, I believe. Yeah, I think so. Because I think we drafted a lot of Americans on this roster, which is kind of good, I guess, considering we're an American team here. So sign all those guys up. And Tamerlan's not AHL eligible yet, so I'm not going to sign him. Actually, I could play him in the NHL, though. Doesn't have really much potential. Yeah, you know what? We'll give him a contract already, too. Sure. I don't think he's going to reach a potential anyways. And then Shipley is AHL eligible, I believe. Yes, he is. Okay. So we could sign him already as well. And I might play him in the AHL next season or in the NHL, but might as well have everybody sign here. And now I need to fill out a roster, which is kind of a little bit of a questionable part, of course. Filling out this roster takes a lot of time, so I will see you guys once I get this roster filled out. Okay guys, so I got everybody signed onto this team, so now we should have pretty much a full-on roster for next season, which is great. Also, it was nice because I literally got everybody to accept within the first day of free agency, so I didn't actually need to simulate any calendar days, so we should be pretty much ready to get our roster set up for our first season, which obviously we'll do in next episode. We'll also do the draft class and stuff like that after next episode, so we'll probably flip between season simulation episodes and off-season episodes, just like I did with my other series. So let's get our lines set up here, and obviously give priority to our top prospects here in the NHL if we want to, unless they want to play in the AHL. So let's see, who did we draft out of this roster? So obviously Stelwitz playing top line. We are going to send Shane Bowers to the AHL because he's kind of too good for the NHL. So I'm going to send him down. And I'm going to call up, what is Wiggle Dude, I guess. Shout out to Wiggle. We'll do that. Go best lines here. Is there anybody else, though, from the AHL that should get called up if we needed? Like, is there any players on my roster that I actually drafted that shouldn't be down there? So Tamerlan in the NHL is fine. Philip Larson's getting sent down because he's too good. I'll call up Shipley already. Might as well play both of our 2 young goalies in the NHL, because that should be fine. Because they don't have much potential anyways. Trevelyan's already up here. He was drafted by us. Parks was drafted by us too. He's already up here. That's good. So that's 2, 4. Stelwitz is already up here. That's 5. So there's probably... Oh yeah, Pavelski needs to come up. That's one of them. That's one of the guys we drafted for sure. Sometimes it's hard to remember who you drafted in this type of thing, but obviously at least it's good that it shows who is a prospect of yours. So now we got 3 defensemen. We got the Stelwitz, that's 4. The 2 goalies, that's 6. That means there's one more player that I need to look for, which I'm not sure if he's in the AHL or not. Let's just go through this quickly here. Nobody on defense, I believe. Actually, let me see Salmonen. No, it wasn't Salmonen. Let's check forwards here. Just double check on this. Go through this part. Yeah, this is a little bit slow right now. Just heads up. Oh, Dean Perron. Yeah, he's the one that needs to come up. The grinder. So we'll call him up. We will send down Makia. I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't know how I'm going to try because I know I'd butcher it. Alright, so in terms of our lineup, obviously we want our top prospects in good spots. Perron, since he's a low 6, should probably be higher, but he is a grinder, so I don't think it would be great for him to be a top line player. Second line might be okay for him, though. Or third line. Doesn't really matter too much, to be honest, because a lot of these guys are low overall anyways. Defensively, obviously, we'll be running Parks and Trevelyan together, which is good. And we need to scratch one of these defensemen to get Pavelski in. So we'll probably just scratch Berglund. So Pavelski will be on the second pairing. Does he work with Trevelyan better? No, he does not. That's fine. And then goalies, we'll obviously go with Tamerlan as the starter because he's got the backup potential. Shipley will be backup for now, but obviously if he develops good enough, he could probably pass and be the starter. So that's all set up and ready to go. Obviously, let's just check the power play and make sure we got our prospects on the power play, though. So Staubitz will definitely be on the PP. Pavelski and Trevelyan could be there. That's fine. Let's see. We should probably get Perron on the power play, I guess, as well, even though he's a grinder. We'll put him onto this unit. Staubitz probably could take face-offs, right? Yeah, he can. We could probably try and get Staubitz to add center to one of his positions if we really want to develop him into a center, but he is a power forward. Is he better down the middle or is he better on the wing? Like, if you guys think I should try and get him to change positions or add a position, let me know, because we could always try and get into the conversation system a bit in next episode. And then power play 2, let me just make sure we could get some of our other prospects like Sylvan Parks, Spike Parks. I think I had a Sylvan Parks in one of my series at one point, but Spike Parks will be there on the second unit. Oh, he's getting a little bit more ice time. And then penalty kill. Yeah, Staubitz could be on the PK. That's fine. Okay, perfect. We are set up and ready to go. Final thing we got to do to end this episode, I know it's been a little bit of a long first episode, is taking a look at the first year draft class. What is it looking like? Is there any interesting player names? Obviously, we won't be able to find out potentials until the end of the season simulation. But obviously, if we want to still take a look at class, we will. So let's just take a look at what names are out there. So Larmour is the top projected prospect from Linköping. You also have Mike Robertson, Kari Ristolainen. So a lot of centers in the early stages, which is kind of good because now that we have a right winger, getting ourselves a center wouldn't be a bad option if we do have the first overall selection. We also could get a left winger like Anton Frondel, who I think is a real person. Roger McQueen's obviously in this draft too. Porter Martone. Michael Meese's draft classes now, which is kind of crazy. So a lot of real players again still, but there are some generated guys. A lot of centers, like I said, though, because if we go to center, yeah, there's literally like literally 8 centers in the top 9, at least as of right now. So we definitely will be able to get ourselves probably a good center for this team going forward, which is good. Also in next episode, or not necessarily next episode, in the next offseason, if you guys could remind me about signing the best scouts possible, we definitely want to make our scout pool a lot better because we do want to be able to scout draft class entirely as much as we possibly can, so that way we know as much as we can about it. But I think that's pretty much it. Actually, final thing I wanted to do was take a look at Staubitz, because obviously Staubitz is our stud player. Let's just take a look at what he looks like in terms of his player face. So I'll move my face so you guys can actually see him. So this is what Staubitz is looking like. He's already our captain technically based on this, but here is what he looks like. Blonde guy. Looks pretty good. And he wears, what is it, number 40 did it say? Yeah, number 40. Looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. Some crazy skates as per usual. It's got the nice Eastern Synergy stick too, which is an awesome stick to choose from. So that's cool. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this first episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode. I hope you guys liked this first episode, and I will be doing probably episodes of this every, I'd like to say probably on, technically, I guess on Thursdays or Mondays and Thursdays every week. I'll probably do an episode of this, so that way we can go through the seasons relatively quick. Put anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.